Okay, that was funny. I just tried to go live on the video, and anybody who saw that, it didn't go so smoothly. But this is live video. This, it's me doing it, nobody else, just me. So it's John Hope Bryant, founder, chairman, and chief executive officer of Operation Hope. I'm live from Colorado. Just came back from probably 12 to 14,000 elevation level. Here speaking for the Entrepreneurship Organization, group of entrepreneur founders who make $1 million or more a year in revenue, who want to find a way to do well and do good. The topic of today's session is how to grind. So, by the way, you can plug in your comments below. I'll try to respond in real time, or I will respond right after this video is over. This is a very important session. That's going to be, I'm going to do it in two parts. And by the way, first of all, I'm founder, chairman, CEO of Operation Hope, chairman, CEO of Bryant Group Ventures, and I'm proud to say CEO of Bryant Group Motorsports, where I got my first win as a rookie full competitive race car driver in South Africa. Okay, living your dream. So this is about how to grind and how to have success in 10, the success you want in 10 years. So I want to unpack some things for you, and I want to thank you, first of all. I'll do a blog on this, but we got to we got to 1 million views on this series. Snuck up on me last night when I got in. 1 million views. It was one of the ways that put a rainbow after the storm I was having. So thanks for everybody who's signing in. I'll try to answer your comments in real time or after. Okay, so how to grind. People want to know, John, how do you do this, right? Well, I was in South Africa, I think 3 days ago. Came back from South Africa, landed 7 in the morning, dropped my bags, got a little rest, spent time with the family. That afternoon, got back to work. Yes, I did work from home, but I worked all that afternoon. Spent some time with the family that evening. Wrote some things, did a couple videos for you. I think I had a day of meetings that next day in Atlanta. Then I was off to Washington, D.C., where I had morning meetings and at Treasury Department, and then spoke at the U.S. Economic Development Administration Conference. And then went to the airport for a flight to Denver. Now, this should have been routine. But there was a storm that hit Washington, D.C. And at 5 o'clock, I'm at the airport. 6 o'clock, the flight is delayed an hour and 20 minutes, which means I'm going to miss my connection in Atlanta to Denver. And there's a 2-hour drive with a driver, like my man here who's driving me today. Say hello. It's only like 20,000 people, don't worry. And so I've got to find a solution, right? Most people would just cancel. No, I wanted to get to this conference. So make a long story short, I couldn't get that way because I missed my connection. So then they said, well, you can go through Minneapolis from National, but it's going to be like a horrible seat. So I'm like, no, I'm not interested in that. It will ruin my sort of energy. I got to work on the plane. I travel 600,000 air miles a year, so I live on a plane and need to be comfortable. So they said, well, you can drive to this connection issues here in the mountains of Colorado. I had a better connection in South Africa, by the way. There's no guarantee you're going to miss your connection in Minneapolis. So we drive to Dulles Airport, and I get there at 6:30 for a 7:15 flight. Not because of incompetence, not because of anything I did, but because of indifference. I'm going to do a whole video on the disabling power of indifference. I missed that flight by 5 minutes. Folks in security were like, whatever. They're talking to each other about their girlfriends, and and if you upset them, they're gonna really slow you down. And then I get to the gate, and get to the train, and the lady put me on the wrong train. You can't get upset about stuff like this. You can't let it get you off your game. I stayed focused, right? And missed the flight by 5 minutes. They're like, sorry, sir, there are no more flights tonight. So I'm like, well, where else can I get there? And they're like, well, you can go through another airline. You can go through United. Okay, well, how do I do that? So, make a long story short, get on a 10:30 flight to United, arrive at 12:30 in the morning in Denver, 2.5-hour drive from Denver to the mountains of Colorado, where I spoke, American City, and this connection's really bad. I'm trying, folks. It's not me, it's the connection. And got in at 3:34 in the morning, and I had to speak the next morning, got my sleep. That's when I found out we hit over 1 million views. And got up, gave this speech, almost lost my voice, and I had a certain epiphany about our mission that wouldn't have happened had I not been there. But the whole point was that I was grinding, right? This whole thing was I was grinding. I was never giving up. An entrepreneur works 18 hours a day to keep from getting a job. And even if you don't want to be an entrepreneur, you've got to have an entrepreneurial mindset. If you're running a household and you've got too much month at the end of your money, you better be creative. If you're running a department of a government agency or a nonprofit or wherever you work, they're going to give you not enough budget, not enough time, and too much responsibilities. You better be creative. You better think over it, around it, through it. You got to get to it. You got to learn to grind. And so there's no replacement for hard work and thinking out the box. The t-shirt they gave me today, I love these t-shirts. This one says, out of the box. Or, think outside, no box required, actually. Think outside, no box required. And so that's about really reimagining yourself and never giving up and never giving in. So theory number one for an entrepreneur: never give up. Never give up, never give in. Never, ever, 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 ever give up. Theory number two: an entrepreneur works 18 hours a day to keep from getting a job. And if you don't want to be an entrepreneur, you still need an entrepreneurial mindset. And if you can make your 9 to 5, by the way, the gateway to your 5 to 9. So your 5 to 9 is your dream. The 9 to 5 is how you finance your dream on somebody else's clock, assuming you're showing up and doing the work that you were hired to do. Theory number three, really you got to redefine success as going from failure to failure without loss of enthusiasm. Redefine success as going from failure to failure without loss of enthusiasm. Theory number four, you really have to have a creative mindset. You don't have capital, have money. By the way, capital is Latin for capitas, knowledge in the head. You don't have money for compounded interest, and it's like trying to reconnect. You have hustle on top of hustle, which creates more hustle. And you literally outrun failure. Like, even if you're dealing with a racist, like the racist has to sleep. The racist has to sleep. They got to go to work from 9 to 5, come home to kick the dog, they beat the wife, they get drunk from 8 to 9. Then they go and chase you, with the Klan party from, 9 to 11. What are you doing for the rest of the day, right? I'm joking, but I'm serious. Like, even whatever your obstacle is, other people have to rest and they're going to be selfish about their lives. What are you doing to double down on your life so you're outrunning failure? All I do is outrun failure, and I just never give up. My grind is serious. So I'm going to tie this into science. The book, The Tipping Point, Malcolm Gladwell wrote a great book called The Tipping Point, 5% of role models. With 5% of role models, every community stabilizes. So watch how you live your life. It might be the only Bible anybody else reads. But he has another book which is really transformational, that deals with the outliers. And this is what I want you to be. So basically, if you work 20 hours a week with some, focus on 20 hours a week on some vision you have for yourself for 10 years, you'll be the equivalent of an NBA player. So if you're passionate about graphic design, or you're passionate about becoming the best driver, best chauffeur, or you're passionate about crocheting like my sister Monty, or you're passionate about entrepreneurship, or you're passionate about whatever it is you're passionate about doing, if you spend 20 hours a week for 10 hours, for 20 hours a week for 10 years focusing on that, no one will deny you. You'll be one of the best leaders in the world in that space. The equivalent of an NBA player. You may not be Michael Jordan, but you will be effectively the equivalent of the NBA. And you just outrun failure. So those are some real simple theories for sort of getting control of your life and living your life, not letting your life live you. Let me stop and now get to some questions and see what people have to say. Why are you stopped, John? I'm not quite sure what that means from Manuel. You got to see, then be it. Yep, Jacqueline, Cassandra, Sheila, will the rebroadcast be okay? Ronald Carter, I hope you're getting this. Because I stayed on even though the signal wasn't all that great. Don't stop, won't stop. Emmanuel, Ebony, Marcia, good evening from where she is in the world. Mark, love. Let's try it again, John. Success is encountering a number of failures. Okay, I'll repeat that. Success is going from failure to failure without loss of enthusiasm. Most people expect things to go well in their life. That's a misnomer. Hope for the best, expect the worst, and condition your mind for whatever happens. I'll repeat. Hope for the best, expect the worst, and condition your mind for whatever happens. Why are you assuming that your life's going to be great? Right? Why are you? There's a book called from Scott Peck, The Road Less Traveled. First line, first sentence, first page. Life is difficult. Translation: if you can't get with that statement, don't read the rest of the book. because nobody promised you a rose garden. Nobody said that life was going to be free of grief or pain. So you got to double down and recapture your life, because if you don't, somebody else is going to hijack it. All right, I hope that was good. I see some folks from Nigeria and other parts of the world. I'm going to do one more video. Hopefully I get a better signal when I get out of these mountains. That is really important, and it builds on something I did yesterday. They got all people all excited about why folks are so angry and why you cannot afford to be angry for your own life. I'm going to do that. Give me 10, 20 minutes to get out of all these mountains. I hope this was helpful. Peace and light. Thanks for the 1 million views. This is the new open source empowerment series on civil rights, on Operation Hope. If you want to help my movement, go to operationhope.org, become a volunteer, become a mentor, become a member, join the civil rights movement, or join Global Dignity. But let's create a new world for a new class of doers, starting with you. Peace and light.